There are multiple types of abuse, but the most common would be physical, emotional, or psychological and sexual abuse. Anyone can be a victim of any type of abuse. Women and men are victims of abuse. Children and individuals with lower cognitive functioning are more susceptible to be victims of abuse. Anyone can be a perpetrator. As a matter of fact, it's typically people that we know. Elderly folks are also very susceptible to any type of abuse. The most obvious sign of abuse would have to be if you are verbally told that someone or that a victim is being abused. It's also important to remember that even if they don't verbally communicate that to you, all behavior is form of communication. So they may be telling you with their behavior that they're being abused. So there are signs to look for. Sexual abuse is abuse that is non-consensual in the form of rape or molestation. The most common signs of sexual abuse are stains or blood in the undergarments, vaginal or anal discomfort, trouble walking, changes in behavior. Maybe if an individual no longer wants to be around another person, all of a sudden is scared of the dark, or maybe if a child starts to become discomfort and disoriented, maybe even at the time of bath time. A lot of abuse does happen during those intimate times at home. Emotional or psychological abuse is harassment, intimidation, humiliation, threats of physical abuse, and even isolation or withdrawing from peers, family, or loved ones. Signs of emotional abuse are going to be different than signs of other abuse. More agitation, maybe some aggression, maybe weight loss or rapid weight gain, or becoming dependent on alcohol, substances, or even food to bring us comfort from the emotional abuse. Physical abuse is the use of force or physical pain used to get something that the perpetrator wants. Some examples of physical abuse are scratching, burning, slapping, biting, kicking, choking. The list could go on and on, but any physical harm done to a person or a victim in that role. Signs of physical abuse are not limited to, but can be identified by maybe elaborate stories or tales of how the injury happened. You can also kind of identify a pattern in the biting or the bruising. Some other signs may be, maybe it happens around a certain time, certain holidays. I've worked with victims of abuse that anytime after 5 o'clock on a Sunday evening, when their father would get off of shift, of the work that they do, that young lady, even though she wasn't in home anymore, she would become very agitated and physically aggressive herself, because that's what she was used to. If you see signs of abuse, I definitely recommend, number one, if you're being told about it, always take that seriously. Number two, go to your local law enforcement after you've done some investigation yourself. Remember that sometimes when abuse happens, the victim can disassociate and maybe blame someone else because in their mind it happened by someone else, because maybe they want to protect the perpetrator. So after you've done some investigation yourself, follow up with your local law enforcement to get an investigation started the way that it needs to be with your law enforcement. White Horse Ranch staff and program are trained and designed to work with girls who have experienced trauma. A high percentage of our girls come in with any type of abuse, whether it's sexual, physical, or mental or psychological abuse. And so we take pride in the fact that we dig down into the root deep issues of what's going on in their world and look at their behavior versus what are they verbally saying. So White Horse Ranch can help in many ways. If you believe that your daughter is being abused, reach out and subscribe to our YouTube channel at the link below.